Welcome back, everybody. Just hours from now, thousands will attend a rally calling for justice in the case of Trayvon Martin. That rally for the slain teen being led by civil rights activist and MSNBC Politics Nation host Reverend Al Sharpton, who is among many activists and voices now calling on Sanford Police Chief Bill Lee Jr. to step aside. Reverend Al, who spoke with Trayvon's parents here yesterday, his father Tracy vowing to fight for his son, a young man he claims once saved him from a house fire.
Trayvon pulled me out of the kitchen, out of the burning kitchen, went back in the house, retrieved the phone, came back out, called 911. I will not stop fighting for justice for Trayvon until I die. He gave his life, he almost gave his life for me. I won't stop until I get justice for him.
Over 1,000 people attended a Million Hoodie rally in New York City last night in honor of Trayvon, who was wearing a hoodie the night that he was shot to death. Many are calling for the arrest of that alleged shooter, George Zimmerman, who cited self-defense in the case under a stand your ground law in Florida. Zimmerman remains free and is still in possession of a gun. Arthur Hayhoe is executive director of the Florida Coalition to Stop Gun Violence and joins me now. And Arthur, as we talk about the stand your ground law, give all of us some background. And we talk specifically about Florida, but they're now in effect in 22 states around the country. Originally, the intent here and the good intent was to prevent gun violence. So why have things now turned on their heels and taken a turn for vigilante justice, and in cases like this, for things to completely fall through loopholes?
Well, look, I and my organization have fought the NRA in Florida since 1985. We call for an investigation of the NRA in Florida, not the police chief of Sanford or prosecutors. They're not the problem. They're victims of this law, just like Trayvon Martin was.
George Zimmerman, the alleged shooter in this case, he remains not only free, but he remains armed with that gun used in what is the death of Trayvon Martin. Licensed to carry this or not, he's not a cop on patrol. Many activists say that his license should be revoked. There are rules here, Arthur, about revoking a gun license in Florida. What's it going to take, though, for that to happen in this case, in your opinion?
We have to overhaul those rules on concealed carry. They're a disaster. And, you know, if we don't weed out all these things in these legislation that are causing all these problems, as I said, if we can't stop the NRA from pushing up gun rights and public safety down, we're going to continue to have these problems.
Arthur, the lawmaker who was the one that drafted this legislation says there's nothing in it that allows pursuing and confronting people, as Zimmerman did to Trayvon Martin. When you look at all the statistics, more unarmed people have been killed and wounded under this law than actual armed assailants. Do you think it's time now that the governor of Florida, Rick Scott, step in, take this off the books?
This law needs to be repealed. You cannot amend it. If you amend it, it will collapse. So we've always gone for appeal. We have to throw this entire stand your ground law out and re-engineer a new Florida self-defense law. The one that we have now was engineered by the NRA, and we're paying a price for it. Nobody was asked what they wanted. The police or prosecutors or anyone were not asking for input on this stand your ground law. It was just shoved down their throat. And as a result, we have a disaster on our hands in Florida.
Certainly a disaster after the Trayvon Martin situation. I think a lot of people around this country that aren't familiar with these stand your ground laws are going to get more familiar with them now. Florida Coalition to Stop Gun Violence Director Arthur Hayhoe. Sir, thanks for your time. And again, I just want to remind everybody that the Reverend Al Sharpton is among those demanding that the Sanford Police Chief Bill Lee Jr. step aside. And he's going to speak with Sanford's mayor tonight on Politics Nation right here on MSNBC at 6.